going today?
Good. Hi,
Good.
Bonnie.
Good to meet you. Oh God, you guys are both so fantastic in this series. I have to say personally, Death and Desire, like seriously, the two juiciest roles on the show.
I think so.
Yeah, I agree. I
we
mean,
couldn't say that if everyone else is
No,
here,
don't
but
tell anyone.
yeah.
But for
I
sure, the
won't,
best.
I won't, I promise. But Mason, kudos to you because I believe it all started for you with a little tweet to Neil Gaiman. How cool is that?
It's very, very strange. It's a cool world that we live in where Neil is just so active on the internet that he would even see a little question like that. But I was just kind of, possessed in the moment to do something very very strange and unorthodox. And I was like, I'm gonna go to the source. I'm gonna cut all the shit out. I'm just gonna go to the source.
Right? But listen, that's very inspiring because that gives people, go for your dreams and go for it. And I have to ask you, I mean, what did you see in Desire that you thought, this is me, this is me?
Well, I felt like sort of kinship with the representation, obviously, as a non-binary individual, as someone of a trans experience, to see yourself reflected in any form of media. I think we immediately latch on to those little morsels, when you're of a marginalized experience, you kind of are like starved for examples of your own humanity reflected in art and in things like this. And so that was my first introduction to Desire, and my fascination with the character probably came from a lot of that, but then the other side of it is just that it's everything I've ever really wanted to do. As an actor, I've always kind of loved the complicated, not so much the villain, but not so much the hero kind of a person. And they're just a really remarkably well-rounded anthropomorphic representation of something, there. You get to play it a lot.
Absolutely. Kirby, for you to play this type of version of death, like it's not the Grim Reaper that we all know with the the hood on, and very cool, very modern, very tell me a little bit how you kind of got into Death's mindset and thinking like, I'm Death, right?
It's thoroughly modern, and yet it was written decades ago. The Sandman came out in '89, and I think to sort of elaborate on what Mason said, Neil presented this piece of art at a time where we weren't having the same conversations that we're having now, and so it has always been sort of, Neil himself has always been a trailblazer, and that so has been reflected in his work, and then in Sandman in particular. And I think that's why it's so popular. Presenting the idea of death, like you say, it's almost always the Grim Reaper. It's doom and gloom. And I'm sure Neil could have written an incredible character that was that, but he found it more interesting. And I know as a fan of the comics, I found it more interesting to see a more utopian side of death. What if death could be gentle? What if it could be guiding? What if it could be sort of careful and considerate? And I think that is what has really connected fans to death. It's rare that people say things like, I love death, it's like, I think that is what has connected fans to the comic, and that's what will continue to engage fans in the show.
Yeah. And I'm wondering too, Mason, you can address this one, because when you have such popular source material, as Kirby said, it was written 30 years ago, but it's still so relevant today. And it comes with such an extensive fan base, as you probably just saw at Comic-Con too. I mean, for goodness sake, what kind of pressure does that put on you, maybe additional as an actor, to make it, you've got to make it right, but yet you want to make it your own too?
Yeah, I think it's very easy to get caught up in the pressure of the expectation, but you have to remember that every individual has their own experience of art that they personalize and hold in a way that you will never ever necessarily reach everyone's expectation of something in adapting it. So, I've been through this a few times with other shows, from Cowboy Bebop to Quantum Leap to this. And so it's like, at this point in my career, I feel like I have a good distance of being able to say, like, I'm going to bring as much of myself and as much of what I've always wanted this part to be, and what the voice I heard and the person that I saw when I was first experiencing, whatever medium it originally existed in. And hopefully a good portion of the fans and a good portion of the world will also agree with me. And if they don't, that's totally okay, because it is,
Yeah.
that's up to them to, they can always go back and re-experience the thing that they fell in love with in the first place. And my portrayal and my, experience of it isn't going to affect that original context in any way.
Absolutely.
So yeah, just once you realize that, I think that helps take some of the pressure off, because then you can just play and have fun.
Absolutely. Well, I think you both will be delighting fans from here to Kingdom Come. My God, you both did such a great job. And thank you for these juicy performances. I loved you guys. So thank you so much and have a
Thank
great rest of your
you.
day.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.